All right. Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Yes. Audible, guys. Let me know quickly. Anand, Monisha, Lanta, Sai, Situ. Yes. Okay. So, guys, where did we stop in our previous session? What was our last topic? IP addresses. So, I gave you a task that is setting up a router setup, and taking two switches, connecting to router, and making sure that you are able to communicate from block A to block B. So how many of you have done it? Done, Sidhu, I got update from you. Okay. And what about others? Didn't do or tried, but it didn't happen. Anything as such? Completed. Okay. All right. So guys, today we are going to continue our IP addresses concept. So yesterday what we have done is just to have a quick recap. So in our previous session, we have seen how to set up router configurations. We have seen in our previous session in Cisco Packet Tracer. So after that, I have given you a task for you guys also to replicate what I have done yesterday. And then IP addresses. Okay, so we have started off IP addresses concept. So in IP addresses, we have seen there are different types of IPs like static IP, dynamic IP, public IP, private IP. Okay, and I've explained you what is the purpose of private IP, what is the purpose of public IP. Okay, difference between private IP and public IP. Private IP is used only inside network, but public IP is used outside network. So I told you when it comes to web servers like Facebook or Google or anything as such. So as a individual device user, if you type facebook.com or google.com, you are able to access Google resources. You are able to reach out to Facebook server and access the Facebook resources. So how are you able to do it? How are you able to reach out to Facebook directly or Google directly? Because when it comes to Facebook, Google, or any such kind of servers, web servers, they have a dedicated static public IP. Okay, dedicated static public IP they'll have. But when it comes to your router, ISP provider is providing you with an IP address, right? With a public IP. So this public IP which you are provided is not dedicated for your own network. So the public IP which you are given from ISP provider is dynamic public IP. Means dynamic means it keeps changing. It won't remain constant. Dynamic means it keeps changing. It won't remain constant. Static means it is fixed. Static means fixed. That means it will remain permanent. Dynamic means it is temporary. Temporary. So dynamic IPs are default IPs, guys. Dynamic IPs are default IPs. Either it might be a public IP or private IP. Dynamic is default. Okay. Dynamic IPs are default. It might be public IP or private IP. So when it comes to our own home network, okay, you connect to your Wi-Fi router. Do you guys ever provide your device with your own private IP? Do you assign your device with a private IP? Or when you connect to router, will router directly assign an IP to you? What do you guys do? Is router directly assigning IP? Right? Yeah. So guys, your router, okay, let's say this is your router. Our routers have a feature called DHCP. DHCP. DHCP means Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. DHCP means Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. So what happens with the DHCP is, let's say your router IP range is 192.168.0.12, 192.168.0.254. Let's say this is your router IP range. Okay, you can see from 1 to 254 possible IPs are there. That means it can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4, it can be 5. Like that, it has an IP range. So what happens is, when your laptop or your mobile, let's say this is your laptop, when your laptop or mobile clicks on Wi-Fi, and when you're trying to connect to a Wi-Fi network, what will happen? From your laptop, a connection request will go to your router. A connection request will go to your router. So in your laptop also, DHCP by default, it will be enabled. By default, your laptop DHCP also will be enabled. So what happens is, when a connection request is going to your router, your laptop will send a DHCP request to your router. And your router has a DHCP feature, right? So what it will do is, out of this IP range, it will pick some random IP which is free, which is available. Okay, it will pick a random IP which is available, and it will automatically assign it to your laptop. 192.168.0.10, for example, or 100. Are you guys getting this concept? Did you understand? So what happens is, in router, we have some concept called DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. So your router has an IP range. So when your laptop sends a connection request to your router, what your router DHCP will do is, it will check which IP is available. So randomly it will pick an IP address and assign it to your laptop. So your laptop will have IP. So you don't have to manually configure IP address to your laptop or desktop. Got it, everyone? Okay. But in companies, in enterprise, in corporates, we will disable DHCP. DHCP, we don't use it in companies. Secured companies don't use DHCP because it has security threats. DHCP attacks are there. So that is why in companies, we don't use DHCP. So if DHCP is not there, then can router automatically allocate IP address to our system? Yes. Is it possible for our router to automatically assign IP address to our laptop if DHCP is disabled? Router cannot assign IP. Okay, remember this. Because of DHCP, router is able to assign IP address to our laptop. But if DHCP is disabled, then router cannot assign our device with an IP address. We need to manually assign our device with IP address. Yesterday we have seen, right? We went to every PC we opened. Even though we connected to a router, our PCs didn't get IP address. We had to open each and every PC and we had to manually give IP address. Right? Did you understand, everyone? Okay. Yes. So in our normal home usage, you'll have DHCP enabled by default. So you don't have to manually assign with IP. Automatically our router will assign our mobile or our laptop with IP address automatically. But when it comes to corporate networks, secured companies, we have DHCP disabled. In future, I'll show you DHCP related attacks. DHCP snooping, DHCP poisoning attacks are there. In future, I'll show. So DHCP is disabled because many cyber threats are there. Okay. So now, by default, as I told you, all our devices will have dynamic private IP. Dynamic private IP to our systems. Who will assign? Router itself. But in companies, if we disable DHCP, then in that case, we need to manually assign our systems with a static IP address. Private static IP. Yesterday, we ourselves have given IP address to each and every system, right? That is nothing but a fixed IP for each and every system we have given. That is static IP. Static means fixed IP. Dynamic means temporary IP. So if router is automatically giving you IP, that is a temporary IP. It's a dynamic IP. Clear, everyone, so far? Private IP concept, static and dynamic. When it comes to public IP, guys, public IP, by default, public IP also we are assigned with this dynamic public IP. Our ISP provider will provide you with a dynamic public IP. Okay, dynamic public IP. So what we are doing is, by default, we are assigned with dynamic public IP by ISP, not our router. If our router is giving us IP, it's in our hands because it's our own router. But if ISP provider is giving us an IP, it's not in our hands. It's in ISP provider hands. So in that case, if I want my ISP provider to give me a dedicated static IP, then I have only one option where I have to tell my ISP provider that I want a static IP. I need to call customer support and tell them that I want static IP to be included. So what they'll do is current package they'll increase 400 rupees every month because for static IP address. Okay. So static IP, if you want a static public IP, you need to make a payment, extra payment. But for dynamic IP, you don't need to pay anything. By default, you'll be given a dynamic IP, which is shared by everyone. Okay. So coming back, I'll give you an example. Let me give you guys an example. Okay. So guys, can anyone open your browser? Okay. Open your browser and let me show you my IP. I'll show my IP address. This is ER segment IP address. Okay. Can you guys open your browser and can you type this IP address 49 in your browser? You can in URL browser URL type this IP address and tell me what you see. So what do you guys see? When you even in your mobile phone you can open a browser and type this IP. Do you see anything? It is saying cannot be reached, right? So right now you are not able to reach my IP. Okay. So I'll show you one thing. So let me get into my router login. Okay. So I'll show you one scenario. Give me a minute. Opening my router settings, guys. Let me just quickly log in. Logging into my router. Observe this. In our router, we have a feature called port forwarding. Okay, so I'll open port forwarding. Are you guys able to see this private IP 192.168.0.105? Status, you can see port forwarding is enabled. Okay, for this private IP, I have enabled port forwarding. So what I'll do is I'll open my laptop. Okay, I'll open Kali Linux. Give me a minute. Observe this. One 192.168.0.105 was the private IP where port forwarding was enabled. I'll explain about port forwarding later. Okay. So what I'm doing is manually, I'm assigning my laptop that is my Kali Linux with a private IP. I'll type ifconfig and I'll show you my IP. You guys are able to see 192.168.0.105. Okay, my laptop, my Kali Linux private IP. Okay, and you guys are able to see in my router, I have configured in my router. I gave my Kali Linux private IP and I have enabled port forwarding. So what happens? What happens is, since I bought a dedicated public IP, we can't assign public IP directly to our laptop. Okay, because ISP provider gives us public IP, but ISP gives public IP to our router. So in our router, we can tell our router that I want that public IP dedicatedly assigned to this private IP. Are you guys getting it? So I'm telling my router that I want that public IP dedicatedly assigned to this private IP. And my Kali Linux has that private IP. That means indirectly my Kali Linux has that dedicated public IP assigned to itself. Okay, I'll give you an idea. So what I'll do is, I'll start an Apache service. Okay, so guys, now open your browser and type the public IP and tell me what you see. Open your mobile or open your browser and type the public IP. Do you see this index of page? I don't know if you can see. You see this kind of page, everyone? When you type this IP address in your browser or your mobile browser anywhere. Yes. So you are able to see all these files which are there in my folder. enc_win.exe, flappybird.apk. You are able to see these files. So sitting in your home, you are able to access the files which are there in my folder. If, let's say, for example, I will create an index page. Okay, now that I have created index page, refresh your website, refresh your browser. You will see a sample ER segment web page like this. Right? Did you understand? From your laptop, you are able to access the files which are there in my system. How are you able to access? You are able to directly send a request to my laptop. How are you able to send a request directly to my laptop? Because I have a dedicated public IP assigned to myself. Did you guys understand the power of public IP? Okay, if you have your own dedicated public IP, you are globally accessible. Using your public IP, anyone can reach out to your system. There is advantage and disadvantage. The advantage is you are globally accessible. You can host your own web page for free. You can host your own web page for free. You don't need any hosting services. But the disadvantages, if anyone is able to reach out to your laptop, even hacker can reach out to you. And there are web crawlers continuously monitoring and web scraping. So if it finds any device accessible in public, it will try to scrape information from our machine, from our laptop. So if my system has any security flaw, it is very easy for a hacker to hack my system without sending me any link or application. Did you guys understand? The advantage is I am globally accessible. Anyone across globe can reach out to my laptop. I made my laptop globally accessible like a web server. But the negative side of it is even hacker can directly approach my laptop using my public IP and they can hack it. That is the reason why I gave this private IP to my Kali Linux. I didn't give it to my Windows. If I wanted, I can make my Windows also globally accessible. But Windows is very easily hackable. That is why whenever I give public IP, public access, I'll use Kali Linux for safety purpose. Even if someone hacks my Kali Linux, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't have any important information in it. And also it's a Linux architecture. So it's very difficult to gain admin control. Did you guys get it? Okay. So what is happening is, this is my network. In my network, I have a router. Can you know our IP address means? Yes, if I check the server logs, you can see I started Apache service, right? Okay. So if I check the server logs, I'll be able to see timestamps from which time, which IP address, what request came in, what file they tried to access. So we'll see that IP. So that details will be there in var/logs. So if you see var/logs folder, so you'll find, where is this? Yeah, you can see Apache. Okay, so in this Apache, you'll find Apache server logs. So you guys are connected to our Apache service, right? So in this, I'll be able to see the log files where I'll see the IP address and all. Okay. So anyways, let's say this is your home. Okay, this is your home and your laptop is there in your home. Student home. So this is our office or our home. So let's say this is my router and this is my Kali Linux operating system. And what I've done is I have assigned 192.168.0.105 IP. So in router, first of all, what I did is I bought a public IP from ISP. After buying public IP, I used port forwarding. Port forwarding technique I used. and the IP address which is there, this public IP. This public IP which is there. I have binded this public IP with the private IP 192.168.0.105. Okay. So what is happening, guys? In your laptop, okay, student laptop, which is there in your home network, you are typing my public IP in your browser. So what is happening? From your browser, a request is coming to my router. Okay, public IP. In my router, I have binded my public IP with this private IP, right? So this private IP belongs to my Kali Linux. So I'm getting the request from your laptop directly to my laptop. Okay, because of port forwarding. So in router, we need to bind public IP with a private IP, and we need to assign that private IP to our system. Then we'll have a dedicated public IP assigned to ourselves. Did you guys understand this concept? How this works? Okay. Directly, we can't assign ourselves with a public IP. So only in router, we have option to bind public IP with a private IP and assign it to our system. Okay. Now, as a hacker, okay, if at all I create a malicious application, cracked software, okay, obviously what I'll do to that cracked softwares, I will bind my public IP. I'll bind my public IP to this cracked softwares or malicious websites. So if you guys, I'll send you a link, or I'll send you application. If you guys click on the link, you'll get forwarded to the malicious web page. That malicious website, from that malicious web page, a connection request will be sent to my public IP. Are you guys getting it? So from your laptop, if I want to hack your laptop or mobile, so what I need to do is, I need to create a malicious web application, or I need to create a malicious executable file, cracked software. So what happens is, you yourself will download that cracked software, or you yourself will visit that malicious web applications. Why? Because obviously millions of people download cracked softwares and install it, right? So when you download and install that cracked software from your laptop, a connection request will come to my attacker's public IP. Obviously, from this public IP, since it's binded with our Kali Linux private IP, I'll get the connection request from your laptop. Once I get the connection request from your laptop, then I will capture that connection and I'll send commands, and that commands will reach your system and I'll be able to control your system. Did you understand? So if you want to hack a system or mobile outside your network, you need to have your own public IP. Your own public IP you need to have if at all you want to hack a device or a laptop outside your network. Okay. So then only if victim clicks on the link or installs your application, a connection request can reach out to your public IP. From that public IP, it will reach out to your system directly. Did you guys understand? Yeah, that's why free Wi-Fi, it's very dangerous for multiple reasons. So we have Wi-Fi hacking concepts in future. So I'll show you guys. We have devices like Wi-Fi, Pineapple, and all, using which we perform attacks. I have it right here itself. We can easily hack free Wi-Fi's, monitor what data you're transferring and all. You can see this kind of hacking tool is there. I don't know if you can see it or not. So this is Wi-Fi Pineapple. So there will be three antennas like this. We can do a lot of Wi-Fi related attacks. Okay, free Wi-Fi, it's much more dangerous. In future, I'll tell you guys why. But for now, you understood that if I want to hack a mobile or laptop outside my network, I need my own public IP. Is there any alternative, guys? Is it possible to hack someone's device if at all we don't have a public IP? No. There is a possibility, guys. That is, we have NGROC port forwarding technique, which is not reliable like having a public IP, but we have a server called NGROC. In future, I'll tell you about it more. So we have NGROC server, okay, available for free server. So what happens is you need to install NGROC in your laptop, in hacker's laptop. If you install NGROC, NGROC will provide you with an IP address, okay, public IP. NGROC, if you install it in your Kali, it will provide you with a public IP. And you can use that public IP and create fake applications, cracked softwares, and send it to victim. If at all victim installs or click on the malicious links, from victim's laptop, a connection request will go to NGROC server. Okay. From NGROC server, since NGROC has given you that IP, so NGROC will forward that request to you. And once you get that connection request, you can send commands via NGROC and control victim device. So this is called NGROC port forwarding technique. So we have alternative. You don't need to buy a public IP. You can have NGROC also free available, but it's not as reliable as having your own public IP. Clear, everyone? In future, in mobile hacking and all, you'll see about it. Okay. But for now, I hope you understood, right? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so with this, I hope you understood what is private IP, what is public IP, what is dynamic IP, what is static IP. Okay, I know it will be a little bit confusing because, as I told, IP address is a huge concept. Okay, so if you are confused anywhere and if you want me to repeat any topic, you can just let me know. Practically in future, if you implement NGROC port forwarding technique and all, of course, that will be clear for you. But for now, in networking topic, I'm just giving a theoretical idea that if you want to hack a device outside your network, you need to have a dedicated public IP. But if you don't want to buy your dedicated public IP, there are alternatives also, like NGROC port forwarding techniques, using which you can hack a device outside network. Clear so far? Okay. So for now, you need to know private IP means it's used only inside network. Public IP means it is used outside network. Static IP means it's a fixed IP. Dynamic IP means it's a temporary IP. Till here it's clear, everyone? Right? Okay. Even Sidhu, did you understand so far? Yes. Okay. All right. So now about NGROC port forwarding technique, hacking a device outside network in ethical hacking, we'll see. Okay, it's not mandatory to know right now. Just because that topic came, I just shared you that information, but it's not required for now. So we'll see about it in future if you are confused in that topic. Okay. So moving forward, now let's talk about classes of IP. So we've been assigning 192, 168, 0.1 and all, right? Why only this IP? What is the concept of it? So guys, you need to know that we are having 5 classes of IP. In IP address, we have 5 classes. Let me show. Go to images. Okay, let me take this. Okay. So guys, observe this. When it comes to classes of IP, the image is small. Let me take this. All right. So observe this image, guys. When it comes to classes of IP, we have 5 classes. Class A, Class B, Class C, D, and E. If you guys see Class A IP, okay, IP range, you can see it starts from 0.0.0.02, 126.255.255.255. You can see the range. Okay. So you can say that this class starts from 0 to 126. Class A. If you see Class B is starting from 128 to 191. Class B, 128 to 191. Class C, starting from 192 to 223. And Class D, from 224 to 239. Class E, from 240 to 254. Okay. So you guys can see this ranges. Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D, and E. So you have 5 classes of IT. And you can see each class has different range. So if you ask me, what are these classes and what is the purpose? It's a simple concept, guys. So class A is used by very large scale companies, large companies like Google, Microsoft, and all big companies with huge infrastructure. Okay, where there are millions of devices, they use it. And when it comes to class B, it's used by medium scale companies like thousands of devices, thousands. When it comes to class C, it is used by small companies and individual users. Okay, small companies, individual users. And when it comes to these two, class D and class E, it is used only for R&D. That means research and development. Only in government defense they use it. Only research and development purpose, not for regular usage. Okay. So why is one number missing? That means here it is ending with 126. But class B is starting with 128, right? Why is it missing? Because when it comes to one IP, that is 127.0.0.1. This IP, we call it local IP or local host. We call this IP as local host or loop back IP. Okay, local host IP or loop back IP, we call it. So if you see, every developer needs it. Every developer needs that IP. I'll show you. So if I open my Kali Linux and if I type ifconfig, so you guys can see LO, local host. You can see the site 192.168. Sorry, 127.0.0.1. It's a loopback IP. So what is the purpose of this IP? By name itself, you can understand local host. Local host means locally you can host your applications. Okay, this is a development environment. For every system, you'll have this fixed IP where if you start your Apache service or any server, if you start in your laptop, okay, it will host the files, right? So you can access that files from your local host, local environment. That means if you type this IP, I'll show you. For example, currently I have started an Apache service, right? So if I go to browser and type my IP address, click enter, you are able to see the website. So the thing is, developers, they want to see how their website looks before hosting it globally. Are you guys getting it? Let's say I'm a developer. Before hosting it globally, I want to check it locally. So what I will do is, I need a development environment in my system where before hosting globally, I want to check it locally, how it looks. So that is why when I start my Apache service and type my localhost IP, I'll be able to access my website which I'm developing in my laptop. Again, you guys cannot access it. In your laptop, if you are developing a website and if you start your Apache service, locally you can see your own website, how it looks in browser. If you feel that, okay, the website looks good, okay, reactive, everything is fine, then I can host it globally. Did you guys understand? So you need to know that this 127 is a special IP, which is only used by developers. Okay, this is a local host IP. It's a fixed IP for everyone for development purpose. That is why it's not considered in any class. Got it? That is why 127 will be missing. All right. Yeah. So you guys can see this is public IP range. Again, public IP. Private IP range is different. Okay. So if you see class A, if you see class A, from 0 to 126, right? In this 0 to 126, there is one IP range which is used for private IP. That is 10 series. You guys can see class A private IP is in 10 series. Class B, private IP range is 172 series. 172 series. Out of 128 to 191, there is one IP range, that is 172 series IP range, which belongs to private IP. Again, 192 to 223, class C. In this, the IP range is 192, belongs to private IP. You can see 192. Do you remember I told you guys to use 192.168 IP? Now did you understand why I told? Because when it comes to IP addresses, there are few IPs which are for private IP. There are few IPs for public IP. So when you are assigning your system with an IP address, you need to assign a private IP. So you need to assign from this IP ranges. Either 10 series you can keep, 172 series also you can keep, or 192 series also you can keep. Did you guys understand? So in Cisco Packet Tracer, when you are configuring router, so you can assign any of this IP ranges, private IP range you can assign. 10 series or 172 series or 192 series. Okay, so in your laptop also you have to assign the same series IP. Understood, guys? 5 classes of IP. So private IP range and public IP range you need to know. And we used this particular IP when we are using Cisco Packet Tracer. Because as I told, class C is used by small companies and individual users. So in your home, when you open your laptop connecting to your home Wi-Fi, if you type command prompt and type ipconfig, you'll be able to see IP 192 series, class C IP range in your home. Okay. If you're in your college, if you're in a college, go to your lab and check ipconfig. You'll see 172 series. You'll see 172 series. If you are in Google, Microsoft and all, and if you go to your system and check ipconfig, you'll see in 10 series IP. Okay. So now, why the differentiation? Can a small company use 10 series IP means? Yes, it can. But it's wasting resources. Okay, it's wasting resources. So I'll explain. Let me take an example. If you guys check this out, class A. So you guys are able to see, this is the IP range, right, for class A. Can you see how many hosts can be created in class A? 16 million. 16 million possible IPs can be created in class A. That is why only big companies use class A. When it comes to class B, 65,534 possible hosts can be created. That means 65,534 possible IPs can be created in class B. So that is why it's used by medium scale companies. When it comes to class C, only 254 possible IPs can be generated. 254 possible IPs can be generated. That means 254 possible systems can be connected. Right? So that is why we use class C IP. Did you guys understand? Okay. So far. So if you ask, can we use class A IP range in a small company? Means you can. Okay, it's not a rule that you can't. But in router you need to configure, and in your systems you need to configure. You can use it. But if you want to stay organized, so you better keep it simple. Okay, there is no particular costs involved. Separate costs are not involved. If I want, I can change ER segment IP range to 172 series. But the problem is, if you increase the, if you get into class B, so what happens is your network range will increase from 254 to 65,000 possible hosts. So your systems, by default, it keeps sending some ping requests to entire network. Even though that IP is alive or not, it will keep sending few requests every now and then. So what happens is, in your laptop, in your network, if you configure 172 series IP, that means your network size is 65,534 IPs. So your network size becomes very large and your system interactions will increase. Okay, so it is unnecessary. Okay, so that is why if you don't have more than 200 devices, you stay with class C IP. If you have more than 250 devices, then you don't have any other option. You need to increase the size of your network. Okay, so there is no hard-coded rule that you should not use class A IP or class B IP in small companies. You can use it, but only thing is systems needs to interact more because the IP range will increase. Understood? You got it, guys? So if you want, what you guys can do is in Cisco Packet Tracer, till now what you have done, you have used 192 series IP, right? Class C IP you have used private IP, Class C you have used 192.168. If you want, what you guys can do is you can use 172 series or 10 series also. To your router, you can assign 10 series or 172 series, and or your laptops, you can assign same IP ranges. Okay, so you can configure that also. There is no hard-coded rule that you should not. You can use anything. All right, but make sure that it should be within the range of private IP. Clear, everyone? Now, moving in, what is this subnet mask? To connect router, which IP should be used? See, if you are using 172 series in your router, or your systems also should be there in same 172 series. Okay. If you are using 192 series in your router, all your systems also should be there in 192 series. Is it clear? If you are using 10 series in your router, all your systems connected to your router should also be there in 10 series. All right. Yeah. So now moving forward, here you guys are able to see subnet mask. Subnet mask. What is this? Okay. So if you guys see class A in subnet mask, only first octal is 255. Class B subnet mask, first two octals are 255. Class C subnet mask, first three octals are 255. I'll explain this. Okay. So even if you open your Windows machine or Linux machine or anything, and if you type ipconfig or ifconfig and check your IP, so you'll definitely see your subnet mask, net mask. You can see subnet mask, common. Okay. So what is the subnet mask? Since we are in 192 series, that means class C. Automatically our subnet mask will be 255.255.0. Okay. So what is the subnet mask? We'll see. So with subnet mask, you can identify the size of network. Network size. How? I'll explain. So for example, you have subnet mask 255.255.0.0. Sorry, let's say class C subnet mask 255.0. Okay, let's take this. So what is the size of IP address, guys? What is the size of IP? Anyone, any idea? Size of IP? No, not 192. How many bits? Size of IP version 4, okay, which we are using is 32 bits. Okay. Size of IP v6 version 6. We have two versions in IP, right? IPv4 and v6. So IPv4 is 32 bit. IPv6 is 128 bits. Okay. Size of IPv4 is 32 bits. IPv6 is 128. So for now, keep IPv6 aside. So we have IPv4. So if you see, for our IPs, we have 4 octals. Octal 1. Octal means 8. Octal means 8. Octal 2. Octal 3. Octal 4. So each octal is 8 bits. 8, 8, 8, 8. So what is it, guys? 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. How much is it? 32. So the size of IP address is 32 bit. So each octal has 8 bits. In IP address, each octal has 8 bits. So 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 32 bits. So the size of IP address is 32 bits. Now, how did we get this 255 number? How did we get this 255? In this entire IP ranges, You will not see more than 255 number. You can see the subnet mask or you can see the IP range. You will not see about 255 number. Why only 255? Why not 300? Why not 400? The reason is, if you consider each octal 8 bits, right? So each bit you can see 2 power 0, 2 power 1, second bit, third bit is 2 power 2, fourth bit is 2 power 3, fifth bit is 2 power 4, sixth bit is 2 power 5, seventh bit is 2 power 6, eighth bit is 2 power 7. So total 8 bits. 2 power 0 is 1, 2 power 1 is 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. Okay. So we have 8 bits. So 2 power, each bit is 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So total 8 bits. So if you switch on, okay, if you switch on, usually, data travels in signal format, on and off. On means 1, off means 0. If you are sending a message from your laptop or from your mobile, how your data is flowing? Signals format. On means 1, off means 0. So at maximum, if there are 8 bits, you can switch on all these 8 bits. Maximum is you can switch on all these 8 bits. If all bits are on, so you can add 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1. Total, if you count, it will be 255. Did you guys understand from where this number came? 255. In IP addresses, why don't you find more than 255? Because each octal has 8 bits. So if all 8 bits are turned on, if you add all, so you'll get maximum number is 255. That is why in IP addresses 255 is max. Clear, everyone? Okay. Now let's get back. So guys, let's say this is our subnet mask 255.255.255.0. So how many bits should I switch on in order to get 255, guys? How many bits should be on? Yes. Total 8 bits are there, right? How many bits should I switch on in order to get 255 number? All 8 bits. If you switch on all 8 bits, maximum we can get us 255. Did you guys understand? Right? I've just shown you the count as well, right? All 8 bits, if you switch on, you are getting 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 255. So if I want to get 255, I need to switch on all 8 bits. Again, to get 255, need to switch on all 8 bits. If I want to get 255, I need to switch on all 8 bits. If I want to get 0, how many bits should I switch on, guys, to get 0? Yes. In order to get 0, obviously, all the bits should be off, right? So we should not switch on any bit. So 0. Calculation is simple, right? If I want 255, I need to turn on all 8 bits. If I want to get 0, I should not turn on even a single bit. Okay, all 8 bits should be off. So 0 bit should be on. So according to this subnet, how many bits are on? 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 24. 24 bits are on and 8 bits are off, right? So 24 bits are on and 8 bits are off. Now, how do you calculate the size of network? It is very simple, guys. Number of bits off, 2 power number of bits off is 256. Is 256. And always do -2. Why? Because 2 IP addresses are fixed. That is network ID and broadcast ID. Network ID and broadcast IDs are fixed. So 256 minus 2, how much is it? 254. So 254 possible hosts are there if you see this subnet mask. Are you guys getting it? So if you see this subnet mask in your network, so your network size is 254. I'll repeat it. Okay. So very simple. In order to get 255, you need to turn on all 8 bits. But in order to get 0, you need to turn off all 8 bits. So what you need to do is 2 power the number of bits turned off will be the size of your network. Okay. How do you calculate the size of network? So check the subnet. So in that subnet, you need to find out how many bits are off. So if 8 bits are off, 2 power 8 minus 2. Minus 2, why? Because 2 IP addresses are fixed. Network ID and broadcast IDs are fixed in IP addresses. So whenever you calculate the size of network, always do -2. Okay. So I'll give you another example. If at all we have subnet mask 255.255.0.0. In this case, how many bits should be off, guys? 16, right? To get 0 and 0, 16 bits should be off. So 2 power 16 is 65,536. Okay, minus 2 because network ID, broadcast IDs are fixed. So the possible number of devices which can connect to this network which has this subnet is 65,534. Clear, everyone? I'll give another example. Let's say if you have subnet mask 255.0.0.0. How many bits should be off? 8. 8 are on. 0, 0, 0. How many bits are off? 8 plus 8 plus 8. 24 bits are off. So 2 power 24 is some 16 million change. Minus 2. Clear? So you guys can see here. This image. Can you see this? How did we get host per network? You can see the subnet. Class C subnet. How many bits are off? 8 bits are off. So 2 power 8 is 256. Minus 2 is 254. Similarly, class B. How many are off? 16 bits are off. So 2 power 16 is 65,536 minus 2 is 65,534. Did you understand? By seeing subnet mask, you can calculate the size of network. Got it, everyone? Yes. Any queries so far? Understood? Subnet calculation. Okay. Yes. All right. So guys, this is CIDR notation, classless identifier. Okay. Yet to sync. It will take, yes, definitely. So we'll have another session also. Tomorrow also we'll discuss about IP addresses only. Okay. So try to sync in as much as possible because it's very important concept. So we have CIDR notation. I'll explain about it. I don't want to overload you guys today. So I'll stop it with this. So we'll continue about IP addresses. We'll see IPv6, IPv4 difference, CIDR notation. Okay. And we'll see few more like DNS concepts. How to assign ourselves with our own IP, private IP. How do we assign ourselves with our IP? Okay, we'll manually assign our laptop with a manual private IP, static private IP, tomorrow's session. So what you guys do is go through the recording session again. Okay, go through the recording session again. So make sure that you get the concept of this IP address. Okay, so tomorrow also we'll continue IP. Clear? Yeah. So today's task is that only. Go through the recording again about IP addresses. Do your research as well. Tomorrow we'll continue IPs only. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, guys. So this will be it for today then. So we'll catch up tomorrow again. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you.